the fairy tale, the snail, and the fast day. In the garden, where everything was always in a hurry, bees buzzed, ants rushed back and forth, and the wind hurried the leaves along, lived a snail named Laurie. Laurie was never in a rush. She didn't hurry through breakfast, didn't rush to speak, and even smiled slowly. To the others, this seemed strange. "Laurie, you're last again. Why are you so slow?" Laurie quietly stepped aside and went on being herself. One day, trouble came to the garden. After a heavy rain, part of the path was washed away, and an ant named Tito got lost. Everyone ran around calling for him, but no one knew where he might have gone. "He once said he likes the old oak," Laurie suddenly remembered. "I know the way there, but it's a long, narrow path." While the others rushed about in panic, Laurie began her slow, careful crawl, and sure enough, under the oak, wet and sad, sat Tito. "You came," he whispered. Laurie covered him with her shell and helped him find the way back. Since then, no one laughed at her slowness again, because speed isn't always about legs. Sometimes getting there just means knowing the way and not hurrying past the important turns. The fairy tale, The Sheep Who Couldn't Play Ball. In a field where daisies grew and larks sang, happy little animals played together. Every evening they gathered to play ball, jumping, running, shouting, and laughing. But one sheep named Elle never joined in. She stood to the side, watching the others kick the ball so easily. "Why don't you play?" asked Finn the young goat. "I don't know how," Elle said quietly. "I'm afraid I'll miss, and that everyone will laugh." Finn thought for a moment, then said, "Let's just run together. No ball, just side by side." And they ran, slowly, carefully, but together. Then Finn gently passed the ball to Elle. She kicked it and missed. But Finn laughed kindly. "That was a perfect gust of wind you made." Elle sonrió por primera vez. The next day she came again, and again she missed, but no one laughed, because now the game wasn't about winning, it was about being together. A few days later, the ball rolled straight into the goal, and the whole field burst with joy. From then on, Elle played every evening, because real friendship isn't about being good at it. It's about not being afraid to be yourself when someone beside you believes in you. The fairy tale, The Letter in the Pocket. Little Bear Finn had a secret. He missed his friend who had moved to another forest. They no longer built block towers, made up silly jokes, or built branch forts together. Finn often sat on a tree stump and stayed quiet. "Are you okay?" his mom would ask. Finn nodded, but his eyes looked sad. One day, he put on an old sweater, and in its pocket he found a small folded piece of paper. It was a letter from his friend. "If you ever feel lonely, remember how we built that tower and laughed. I'm with you, even if I'm far away." Finn smiled. He held the letter close to his chest, then gently put it back to carry with him. The next day, he saw a little rabbit sitting alone under a tree. Finn sat beside him and quietly asked, Want me to show you the place where the echo hides? That's how a new friendship began, first with silence, then with laughter. And the letter from his pocket, Finn passed it on, because he knew sometimes a small "I'm here" can be the beginning of something big. The fairy tale Two Umbrellas and One Sun. On a bench by the pond stood two umbrellas. One was blue with white polka dots, the other red with yellow stripes. They lived side by side, but never spoke. The blue umbrella thought, "That red one is too noisy, always chatting and waving its spokes around." And the red umbrella thought, "That blue one is such a bore, always quiet, standing stiff like a stick." One day, heavy rain began to fall. A boy ran under the blue umbrella, a girl under the red. But the bench was so windy, both umbrellas began to shake. Suddenly, a gust of wind lifted them up, and they tangled together. "Hey!" the red one shouted. "Careful!" whispered the blue. Then they realized, when they held on to each other, neither of them got blown away. Together they kept the children safe from the rain and wind, stronger than before. When the rain stopped, the children ran ahead, but the umbrellas stayed side by side. "You held up well," said the blue. "So did you," said the red. "Sorry I seemed too loud?" "Sorry I seemed too cold." From then on, they stood closer, sometimes even touching handles, because friendship isn't about being the same. It's about being able to shelter someone from the rain, even if your colors are completely different.
The fairy tale How the Feelings Fell Asleep. Inside one child's head lived a whole bunch of emotions. There was joy, always jumping, laughing, and ringing like a little bell. There was fear, quietly sitting in the corner, sometimes scared of the fridge sound. Surprise was there too, always staring at the ceiling asking, "Why don't stars fall down?" And the boredom always drying out. "I have nothing to do, even with a million toys around." But the nicest one to be around was Calm. Calm didn't talk much, but had warm hands and a voice like a soft rain. Every night before bed, the emotions started arguing. "I still want to run through some fun memories," said Joy. "I'm pretty sure I heard something." "Can we check under the bed?" said Fear. "Do you see that shadow on the ceiling? It's totally alive," said Surprise. "I'm bored," rolled it boredom again. And the child just couldn't fall asleep. But one night, Calm showed up quietly. It didn't yell, it just tucked everyone under a blanket, turned on the firefly lamp, placed a cup of silence nearby, and said, "You all did your best today. Every one of you matters, but now it's rest time. Tonight I am in charge." And all inside the child's head, everything felt warm. The thoughts slowed down, the emotions got quiet, and the child fell asleep, feeling that everything was okay, and Calm watched over the sleep until morning.